This video is intended for viewers aged 13 and up. If you are not 13 yet, please leave. So yes, Scylla here is a pretty nice piece. I don't think it's one of my favorites of the set, honestly, but it's pretty nice. So we're going to start off with the beast mode, and as per usual, we'll get to the limb modes in the final combined section, but we'll start off with the beast mode. I think it looks alright. I feel like the bronze here on the face, if I can zoom in here really quickly, the bronze here on the face really takes it away. So it allows for a lot of definition in the way that it shadows, and I think the bronze paint they chose is just superb. It's just it's a beautiful bronze. They chose just the right metallics throughout this entire set. Sadly, there is no chrome like there was on the King Poseidon, but I feel like this paint is probably going to be more durable than that chrome that was in the small bits of King Poseidon in the long run. But, yeah. However, then we get to the brownish-white plastic. Like I said, this is the most ugly plastic in the entire set, and this figure is the one that features it the most prominently, unfortunately. And for the one that's the most unique, too. It's like, if you want a good look at it, let me take off a gun real quick, one of the accessories that she comes with. Yes, I said she because it is a lady. You fools, I'm not reviewing the original King Poseidon one. But yeah, you can see the kind of ugly brownish plastic. It doesn't really fit with any of the plastic in any of the other figures, you know? And yeah. But yeah, the face on it also, I've had a hard time getting together. I might just be stupid and mistransforming things. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go out, like, slightly further, but I found it easy to push back and then boom, it untabs, you know, like, unintentionally. So you're supposed to kind of push it forward, I'm guessing, you know? But yeah, that's honestly unfortunate. I wish it was a bit more stable than what we have right now. But yeah, going down to the chest, yeah, that's just the robot mode chest. It's a bit more excusable than having a car with a robot mode chest, just kind of slapdashed right on it. But yeah, it's still a bit stupid, especially since it's a female this time around rather than the male that we had before with, what was it, the tentacle, with the tentacle that we had before. Going around to the back, kibble is there. It's a robot upside down. The kibble on the modes I think are fine because these are kind of going for a weird mechanical fish-like thing rather than going for a full realistic beast, you know? But I think it's still important to mention that this is just the chest, this is just the legs. It's a bit annoying. I feel like the tentacle probably fills this area out a bit better though. And again, that annoying plastic. However, I want to get to the real meat and potatoes of the issues here. So, one thing you'll notice is that this side wasn't as fully pegged in until I pushed it down as this side. Now, one little side note I'd like to mention is that, I don't really like how there's a paint differentiation between the inside, which is unpainted of these legs, and the outside, which is painted. It kind of looks like someone just put white out, you know, on your figure. Now, that's besides the point. So if we look at this side, let's look at this side as the example. You can see that both pegs are completely intact and usual, and it makes sense and makes perfect circle. However, when I get to the other side, yeah, it's broken. This plastic seems to be a lot more fragile. I'm pretty sure it's made of the same stuff as with Terramander's hands, you know? As the tabs on Terramander's hands. Though I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. And if it is the other nice plastic, then I'm just scared to mess with it. Thankfully, it hasn't popped off yet, thankfully. The damage that was done wasn't that bad. It's still able to swivel, Thankfully, it's still able to articulate, but every time it sounds like it's cracking, and that just scares me even more. Thankfully, I don't plan to leave it in beast mode. However, that is honestly something that's really unfortunate. I don't really plan to pose it all that much, but that's just stupid unfortunate for something that's so dang expensive. You know? When in doubt, if it does break, I guess just use sticky tack or try to super glue the bit back on. I don't know. But, yeah. However, on a side note, I do really like the sculpting on the tentacles. Once again, the brown plastic kind of really screws with it. Makes it look really soft. However, I think the sculpting looks very nice. I really like how it's designed and sculpted. I also really like how they handle the arms. Or these are just the arms. If I'm able to pan down or pull it up. But yeah, I really like, obviously, kibble. That's annoying, but I really like how this is handled. I like it even more once we get into robot mode, which we'll get to. However, they come untabbed easily. However, if you want, as many people have mentioned, you can count that as just an extra piece of articulation, which we will get to right now, since I don't like to go into the accessories here in beast mode. So since this is an alternate mode, not like the main mode, the articulation is relatively limited. I'm not counting the guns because they're an accessory, but they are able to swivel if you have them up there. The head is able to swivel since it's basically the legs and the waist joint that you're moving, and like a special transformation joint. It's able to swivel as with any waist joint, just manipulating it as per usual, which is a very nice touch to help it look more realistic since this is the giant head. And I think that's like a perfect touch. That honestly redeems the mode for me. The tentacles are kind of on a ratcheted hinge, you know? You can kind of see it ratcheting, but it's not really ratcheted, it's just kind of got blocks. And then typically on the arms, it's just on a typical ball joint, but since it's able to untab so easily, you can say it's on 2 ball joints. And yet, I guess you can take advantage of the transformation joint to open up the claw and close it again, like chomp, chomp, which I think that's nice. And then the legs, I'm going to use the unbroken leg. They're able to swivel forward about that far and swivel back on that far, but these tolerances are obscenely tight. Once again, be careful. Make sure you try not to break them. I don't know. That's just really unfortunate for this side. But yeah. And that's the articulation for the beast mode. It's solid. It's not perfect articulation, and certain things come untabbed a bit too easily, but its articulation, it's fine, it's workable, I understand. I wish there were knees, but the knees in the previous one were super floppy, so I think this works out fine. Now, as we're not going to do size comparison shots for the individual, well, not size comparison shots, accessory shots with the individual beast modes, it's time to get to size comparison. So, the beast mode of Scylla stands about 6 and a bit inches tall. It kind of feels from my angle, you know, 6 and a little bit tall. I'm not going to do length because it's just kind of a normal robot length. And to compare her to other figures, here we have the Marvel Legends Mark 7 Iron Man, the Black Series IG-11, Voyager Bumblebee Prime, Leader Earthrise Prime, Commander Skylynx, Deluxe Waspinator from the previous review, and Coulter. But yeah, for all my ragging, this beast mode is fine. It's got a lot of nice mechanical detail, which is a through line for all of these beast modes and all of the figures in general. However, it's let down by some tolerance issues mainly, primarily in the face and in those legs, as well as some stupid plastic. However, now we're getting into a little bit more of a cool part, the transformation. So, this thing transforms the same as the Kanohii, but its sculpt is different, slightly, as it goes for a fembot. So, to start, you're going to want to untab the face, as is obvious. It's on a hinge. I like to untab it first, and then I say just kind of move the arms out of the way, like so. From there, moving to the side of the bot, I like to pull these down a little bit and move the feet back very carefully, especially for this one. And it lives to see another day. You love to see it. Yeah. From there, you're going to want to take advantage of that swivel joint that we mentioned previously to swivel around this whole contraption. Just make sure you kind of make room with the tentacles. You might want to do the tentacles after you swivel around the head. From there, I like to move it downward like so, and then untab the tentacle head from the legs, and use this hinge here, this kind of double hinge here, which I'm gonna try to zoom in on. Sorry. There it is. And you're gonna use it to pull this bit upward and tab into a pair of tabs. You'll see them. You'll know them when you see them. You'll know them when you see them. You might want to move the legs a little bit to make sure that they have the proper amount of room. Swiveling the robot mode back to the front, you're going to want to swivel the waist so that the knees are in the front, the knee spikes, and then you're going to split the legs in half. And you're going to take the feet, which you can see right here, and move them down like so, untab them. Re-tabbing them can be a bit annoying, but just be patient and, yeah, just kind of pose them to however you would like. Moving on to the arms, so we can leave the dramatic head reveal for last, you're going to want to hinge these down. That's a pretty masterful use of robot mode, beast mode kibble. That allows for some nice arm definition, and you're going to want to do that on both sides, like so. However, here we're about to get to a bit of an annoying part, where it's the head. So you want to pull down this bit, and that's not the annoying part. The annoying part is getting the head out. You don't have a lot of room to move your fingers, and this joint here is obscenely tight. Once again, this figure, I feel like this figure's big problem is tolerance issues, which I hope your copy is better. So you're going to want to pull the head out, and then we'll get to it. I'm going to do this off screen. Give me a sec. However, here we're about to get to a bit of an annoying part, where it's the head. So you want to pull down this bit, and that's not the annoying part. The annoying part is getting the head out. You don't have a lot of room to move your fingers, and this joint here is obscenely tight. Once again, this figure, I feel like this figure's big problem is tolerance issues, which I hope your copy is better. So you're going to want to pull the head out, and then we'll get to it. I'm going to do this off screen. Give me a sec. Alright, so I finally got it untabbed. Your best bet's probably to push down right there, and you can see you just fold the head out, move the body back until it doesn't really tab, it just kind of sits there. Put her down, and there you have the most unique bot of the God Neptune set, Scylla. Yeah. So yes, here we have Scylla in her robot mode, and honestly, I like it a good bit. First off, honestly, I feel a lot of the tolerance issues are mostly solved once you transform her, right after you transform her into robot mode. Now, it's not perfect. The leg ball joints are honestly a bit loose, especially for the obscenely large backpack. We'll get to it. And, yeah. It could be a lot better, you know? But it works out fine, you know? For me, that's really just a feel thing, mostly. I don't really like super loose ball joints. That's a very personal thing, though. So take that with a grain of salt. You might be more into the way that she feels. Starting off with the head, the detail's kind of lost on camera, sorry, but it's a very nicely detailed and sculpted head sculpt. I really like how they slightly shifted the way that, what's his name? Tentacle's head works, because this is a very similar design to Tentacle's, which makes sense. Her original toy was just a repainted version of Tentacle that they just said was a girl. So what they did is made the, in this version, they made the Tentacle sculpt look a bit more feminine, if that makes sense, essentially by slimming it down and giving it more feminine features. But I think it works really well. The only thing I'm not really super into is the way that the detail gets kind of lost in the white plastic. That's a problem for a lot of the heads here, but it's fine. I also really like the silver paint and the red eyes. It's very cleanly done, which is to be expected for a set this expensive, honestly. Moving on to the torso, yeah, this is a female figure. They tried to make the hourglass, but like obviously there's a lot of square behind it, which is just kind of affected the combiner system, and her obscene backpack, which we'll get to here in a couple of seconds. But yeah, I do like the detailing. Once again, it's kind of lost in the white plastic, and it's also super hard to see given the lighting and the crappy camera I have. But yeah, I also really like the minimal bits of gold painting. Where it is, it adds detail, and I'm pretty sure it's accurate. They didn't just add the gold paint on the torso of this female figure just because they were creepy. They wanted to be, just because they wanted to be creepy. That's on the original design. The original designers are the creepy ones. Like, hey, it's a female. Why don't we put gold paint on these chest details to make it look like she has titties? But yeah, they just kind of had to roll with it because people wanted Beast Wars second figures probably in Japan. I mean, they give us a masterpiece Lyle Convoy. Of course they would want it. But here is where we get to the elephant in the room. The flipping backpack. Holy crap. She basically has like the entire face folded down on her back. Thankfully, it's not like the whole robot mode like some figures, because she does have a bit better kibble management than, say, RC. All fembots are going to have kibble, like a massive backpack and kibble. I think we got to accept that, unless, like, let's just say a certain fembot maybe sort of chose not to be super feminine, and as such was able to make better use of the kibble throughout the robot mode. I don't know, maybe it's something from the Power of the Prime line that, even though it's a relatively crappy figure, is one of the best looking fembots we've had in years. I don't know. But yeah. But the backpack kind of flows decently, I guess. I think the tentacles really help as they kind of flow with the backpack, you know? And then, like, the way it kind of flows downward, I guess. But it is still annoying, still a pretty big flaw I've got to mention. The arms are relatively thin, which is kind of to be expected for a fembot. But once again, I love these lower arms. First off, nice helping of gold plastic always helps. It helps to accentuate the detail in the white plastic, which kind of hides it sometimes. Once again, the upper arms, though, have the stupid brown plastic, which I don't know why they went with that plastic. I kind of wish they didn't. It's kind of a grayish-brownish. But then, once again, as I mentioned in the transformation, this kibble management, it's beautiful. This is some beautiful kibble management, you know? And I guess you can fold it out as a weapon, I guess, maybe? If you want to have her, like, get some good punches in. And yeah. And then the hands. One issue with this set is that joints like this, friction joints that don't have pins, pop off very easily when you're trying to manipulate it. The hands are relatively okay, but we'll probably see it when we get to certain sharks, which is where the issues are the most obvious. Then we get down to her legs, and her figure is fine, you know? These are nice, thin legs, I guess. It's not something I'm super crazy about. I don't need every fembot to look super, like, sexy, I guess. Though, I guess I've got another fembot coming in who, is probably the best Generations fembot from what I've seen of images. Review coming soon. Kingdom stuff. But yeah, these legs are fine. I was kind of scared they cracked here at this kind of square bit, but I think that's just intentional detail that they just threw in there, which it's fine. Because it's mirrored on both sides. I don't think it would have the same mirrored cracking on both sides. That would be stupid. But yeah, and then the lower legs, I like the detail. The one thing I can give this kind of brown plastic is that in certain areas it does accentuate some detail. And I do like the detail here. I love these knee pads. I love these knee pads. I don't know why I like them so much. I just really like them. And I do kind of like how these little bits of kibble kind of integrate themselves to kind of look like boots, I guess. The sides of boots. And she has some nice big feet which allow her to stand relatively well, though it doesn't work all the time. And of course, when I say that she's able to stand, reviewer's curse, I guess. Yeah, let's move her back to the center of frame real quick. But yeah, some nice detailing. So now that we're at accessories, we could go over her bits that come with the tentacle as well. We're going with the stuff that comes with the original releases, as we said previously. So to start off, she comes with these nice guns. As you saw, they integrated very well into the beast mode. as they have multiple pegs. And once again, it's in the kind of gummy brown plastic, but I'm kind of getting used to it. It works fine. And then you are going to want to plug it into her hand. That's a very tight fit. I'm honestly scared that her hand might break. And, yeah, they work well. I like them. I think they're fine. Fudge! Sorry, I dropped an Optimus Prime, but yeah. Putting both guns into her hands, they work fine. They're fine guns. I like the sculpting on them. But yeah, they're fine guns. They're fine Generations guns. Okay, quick thing to mention. As I was pulling out the gun, since the tolerance is so tight, I pulled off the hand. Thankfully, it's an easy return push right back in. But yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, right before we get to the next accessory. The next weapon she typically comes with is the axe portion. We saw this also previously on Terramander. Once again, very brilliantly painted. I don't think this is the one that specifically comes with her. Hers is the one that has the brownish plastic. Let me pull it out. Give me a sec. But honestly, it's fine if you mix and match, as this is a combiner set. Rather than just having the individual bots, you get all of them. I'm stalling. But yeah, hers is based around the brownish plastic, which is a bit annoying. But once again, you can mix and match for whatever the heck you feel like. So you can put the axe in her hand. It looks fine. However, since this is the one time I'm going to put my typical tip, well, I might put it in another one. But due to the shape of her hands, I found these swords fit very well. They fit they're honestly some of the best hands for the sword accessories. I usually like to give her both of the swords whenever I'm posing her. But yeah, they fit into the hand. The axe fits into the hand through the 5mm port system. And, yeah. And that's all the accessories she comes with. Well, that's a lie. That's a lie. She also comes with one of your good old green hands. This is most likely going to go with a foot, because she is one of the leg bots. But yeah, once again, we'll go over the hands in more detail later. However, now that we've gone over that, let's go over articulation. And the articulation is pretty standard for a Power of the Prime's limb bot. Head is on... I'm going to zoom in here really quickly so you can see it move. That's too high. Head is on a ball joint. It doesn't really go up much, but you're able to take advantage of the transformation joint to make her head move up further, but not really so much down. But yeah, and then the head's able to swivel on that ball joint. Arms. Shoulders are on ball joints, which allow them to go all the way around, except when they hit, up until they hit the kibble, of course, and move back a decent amount, and are able to move out a good 90 degrees. Elbows are also on ball joints, which I don't think is the best choice for a robot. I don't like having, because you gotta hold up the weapon somehow, you know? But yeah, they are able to go, these ball joints are able to go 90 degrees, and they're also able to swivel to your heart's content. And the hands, as previously seen, are on hinges that pop off way too easily. She actually has kind of two swivels at the waist, which one is right now locked thanks to the kibble. However, the other one, which is meant for transformation, which is also what swivels the head. However, she compensates by putting a swivel under the legs, which is good for when we get to the limb mode, which we'll get to if you're watching these individual later on in the week, or if you're watching the special edition later on in the video. Legs. Hips are on ball joints, which allow them to kick forward that far, back, until they hit, as far as you can go until they hit the kibble. And are able to move out basically almost fully, but you can see they kind of like to sag sometimes. Knees are on double joints because of the way that it transforms. There's one joint that's able to go out that far, and then you can also use the joint for transformation to get it further, which is a nice double jointed system, which is honestly a very surprising touch. Moving down to the feet, they're able to hinge forward, like that. They're able to hinge back, like that, and they're able to hinge outward. I wish they were able to hinge the other way. But if you move it forward, they're able to pivot a little bit depending on how you pose it. But out of the limb bots, she has the most posable legs out of all of them. And in all honesty, she's probably the most posable bot in this entire set. So yeah, her articulation is very good. For poses like this, you might want to get like a stand, like a Figma stand or a Mayfix stand or whatever stand you have. But yeah, her posability is very good. I think it's actually the best posability out of the set. However, you may want to put some floor polish on some of the ball joints, especially the hips, because they are pretty loose sometimes. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And also, keep in mind the feet, they can be, since they're long and not wide, they can be pretty stupid. They can hamper her standing, but they work fine most of the time. Just keep that in mind. Now here we are at this portion of the review where we do the robot mode size comparison shots. So, to measure her out, she stands at about, I'd say about 6-ish inches. Basically 6. If it's under 6, it's like barely under 6 inches. So yeah, she's pretty average size for a deluxe of her time. And to compare her to other figures, here we have Iron Man, IG-11, Optimus, the magnificent Skylynx. Yes. Kingdom reviews coming eventually when that figure ships. Yes. Waspinator. And Coulter. So yeah, this figure is pretty alright. For negatives, in beast mode, she doesn't really like to hold together. She has a lot of tolerance issues. A lot of this figure's issues come down to tolerance issues. Breakages come from tolerance issues. Her wobbly joints come down to tolerance issues. However, also the brown plastic isn't really my cup of tea. It might be yours, and I feel like there could be a bit more paint. However, I think that's an issue with the original design rather than an issue with this figure. However, for positives, I really like how her beast mode looks. I think that's one of the most unique designs in the entire set, and they do it very well. I wish she had a bit more of a cartoony feminine face, but this is a repaint, but I'm saying that just because her beast mode one, at least. I'm just saying that because of how she appears in the cartoon. Also, I like the remolding done on the original tentacle sculpt. It makes her one of her, like, basically out on her own and work as her own character. And also, she has the best posability in the set. It's very well done. And finally, the kibble management that isn't the backpack is really well, spectacularly done. So yeah, Scylla, she's fine. If you want to pick her up, I don't know if I'd recommend her for like for a normal, get her for, if you find her for her normal price, which would be like, I don't know, like, or like for a typical deluxe price, or maybe even a little bit more with the amount of accessories she usually comes with, so like maybe 30 or 40 bucks, then yeah, I'd recommend picking up Scylla. More than Terramander at least. But yeah, just keep in mind the tolerance stuff. So yeah, next time, we're going to get into figures that I feel are a lot, well, not next time. Or, well, in the next part of the review, we're going to get to figures that are a lot better, in my opinion, because they don't have plastic issues, and they don't have tolerance issues. So start off with that. Here we have the old man of the group, Kolagon.